Let's get into it. Shocking. Shocking. How they open it. Reggae star Bob Marley assassinated by the CIA, claims ex-officer on deathbed. Now, this is from 2018, this article. In a shocking revelation, it appears reggae legend Bob Marley tragic death, okay, Bob Marley's tragic death has more to do with. Okay, I think I'm fucking it all up. Let's start that again. In a shocking revelation, it appears that reggae legend Bob Marley's tragic death has more to do than previously thought. Tragic death has more to it. Oh, oh my God, guys. I'm so high on caffeine right now. In a this has to be annoying. One more time, everybody. In a shocking revelation, it appears that reggae legend Bob Marley's tragic death has more to it than previously thought. According to Daily Star, the Jamaican music icon who died aged only 36 years old, leading music lovers worldwide to grieve, was not cut short following a 4-year battle with cancer, but had a more sinister cause. According to 79-year-old Bill Oxley, who was speaking from his deathbed, he claimed the murder of Marley among 17 other assassinations for the American government between 1974 and 1985, at a time when he said the CIA was a law unto itself, which I personally believe that they're still that. And so Bill Oxley, I think he's supposed to be an ex-CIA. Oxley, who, according to the Daily Star, worked as an operative for the CIA for 29 years, said he was often used as a hitman on targets deemed to be a threat to the United States. In an interview shared online, he admitted to not having any problems with proceeding with the Bob Marley assassination because he was a patriot who believed in the CIA. Why would, I mean, Bob Marley, why would Bob Marley be a patriot to the CIA? He's Jamaican. Why would he care about, why would he support them? I don't know. That seems a little off to me. According to the interview, he said, "I didn't question the motivation of the agency. I've always understood that sometimes sacrifices have to be made for the greater good. Gotta break some eggs and make an omelet," a Nazi said once. Furthermore, according to conspiracy theorists, Oxley used fake press credentials to gain access to Marley at his Blue Mountain retreat. According to him, he introduced himself as a famous photographer from New York Times and proceeded to gift Marley a pair of Converse All-Stars size 9. Now, this is where you read that wrong. Thank you, Phil. Okay, wait. Okay, in an interview shared online, he admitted to not having any problems with proceeding with the Bob Marley assassination because, yeah, thank you, Phil. See, this is what happens. My ADHD sucks, and I suck at reading. We speak English good, folks. We think English good. We type English good. We write English good. Yes, because not Bob Marley was a patriot, but Bill Oxley, the former CIA agent, was a patriot, and he did what he was ordered to do for the greater good. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you, bud. Furthermore, according to conspiracy theorists, Oxley used fake press credentials to gain access to Marley at his Blue Mountain retreat. According to him, he introduced himself as a famous photographer. Okay, we read all that shit. When he tried on the right shoe, he screamed, "Ouch," Oxley said, before adding, "That was it. His life was over right there and then. The nail in the shoe was tainted with cancer viruses and bacteria. If it pierced his skin, which it did, it was good night, nurse." So this is the conspiracy theory, is that there was a nail that was laced with cancer viruses and bacteria, which I don't think cancer is either a bacteria or a virus. I think it's abnormal growth of cells. So it's not either, but maybe, you never know. Oxley says he kept close contact with Marley during the final years of his life, ensuring the medical advice he received in Paris, London, and the United States would hasten his demise rather than cure him. The last time I saw Bob before he died, he had removed the dreadlocks and his weight was dropping like a stone, he said, adding, he was very withdrawn, unbelievably small. He was shrinking in front of us. The cancer had done its job, which cancer normally does. Although widely dismissed as fiction, the account does tally with findings by UK scientists in 2014 who discovered the mysterious acral melanomas, the rare type of skin cancer that caused reggae musicians' demise. The reggae musician's demise was in fact not caused by the sun. Not only that, Bob Marley's son Ziggy has previously implied that his father was killed. That's interesting. I didn't catch that before. I know there's a lot of people that think that. So first, let's look up that term. That was weird to me. Fun fact: the treatment for cancer kills more than I know that, Phil. I saw that happen a few times in my life. Most recently, my aunt. She had lymphoma, and it was mostly dormant. And then they started treating her, and it started going away. But her insurance would not fund that kind of treatment anymore, and so they had to give her some other shit. And that it can't be proven, but that type of chemo has been shown to lead for cancers to metastasize in other ways, and it metastasized on her nose, and she had this big tumor that grew on her nose. It was horrible. I still get fucked up over it. I love my aunt, and yeah, I know it way too well. The best treatment for cancer is stop ingesting sugar, as that is what feeds off cancer. Yeah. I agree. Sugar is a huge inflammatory that we should be avoiding at all costs. I mean, we need some sugar, obviously, but we shouldn't be taking the amounts of sugar in that we do. So let's look up thank you for that fun fact, because that was definitely fun. Fun Phil here, everybody. Laying down the fun facts. Okay, so what was that shit called? Finally, dismissed as fiction, the rare type of skin cancer that caused reggae musicians. I thought he died of brain cancer. So it's acromelanomas. Let's see what's going on. Can cancer be spread? Copy. Let's just see what that is. I don't even know what that is. Your body needs zero sugar. It makes its own. I thought you need, or maybe is that salt? Your body needs salt. Let's see. Acromelanoma. Okay, melanoma is a rare subtype of skin cancer that can appear from palms, soles of feet, and under fingernails and toes. It is malignant cuteness tumor that is very aggressive and can spread rapidly. The main sign of acral melanoma is a black or brown discoloration that appears on the sole of the foot or palm of the hand. It may look like a bruise or stain, but over time grows in size. It's usually a flat gray brown. Okay, so it's a type of skin cancer, and I thought Bob Marley died of brain cancer. How did Bob Marley die? Melanoma. Okay, so okay, I had it wrong. So he died of melanoma. Let me drink some water. Got to get a little water here. Got that water. Got that good water. Okay, so Bob Marley did die of a type of skin cancer. Now, is acral melanoma, is it something that could be spread? Is it contagious? Can you spread to other people? Which doesn't make sense to me. That's where this whole story starts to fall apart. Salt, chloride, potassium, magnesium, and calcium are required for the body's function. Yeah, I'd taken the the magnesium and calcium, potassium. I do get a good amount of potassium from my multivitamin, but magnesium, calcium, and it's that third one that maybe it is potassium, but I take a specific supplement, and I have not been sick in like a couple of years just by adding that to my supplements. And I did start to get sick earlier, or at the end of last year, because I work in the medical field, so I ended up getting some stuff. But anyhow, a medical expert like a doctor is best able to find that information. This information does not constitute, okay, whatever. Melanoma is not contagious and cannot be caught from another person. However, once a melanoma is diagnosed and treated, you should have regular skin checks because there is an increase of further melanomas. Excuse me. ALM is a rare type of skin cancer that can spread and become more aggressive before treatments begin. ALM is a very aggressive. Okay. So it's not contagious. So that's where this sort of all falls apart, right? And here's the other thing. Could they have given him some kind of weird disease that acted like cancer or something, that some kind of wasting disease or some shit, and they just called it cancer? I mean, is it possible? I don't know. It's weird when your whole family starts to think that you've been, fucked over by the CIA. It's a strange part about it. So I was going to check out this video. I started watching it, and there's more. Oh, you know what? I want to actually... I like this page when they have mysteries of music. It's fun for me. Let's see what Ziggy Marley said. Ziggy Marley speaks on CIA death father. Let's just see what comes up. Oh shit. Ziggy Marley has a whole video where he's ready to talk shit. Let's go.
In Jamaica, I was born at home. My mother liked telling me that story. My father helped deliver me. Parents are very humble. We're very humble people. And even as he grew in stature, in Jamaica, he was still one of the people. Even after moving out of the ghetto, he would take us back there. We would hang out there, play soccer. He kept his old friends and kept wanting to see better for the people, more unity and more love for the people.
On May 11th, 1981, Bob Marley passed away from malignant melanoma. He was 36 years old. Okay, we knew that. Well, let's hear what...
The day he passed away, we were at grandmother's house. And then I saw her coming down the stairs. And she didn't even have to say anything, because I kind of knew. I never cried. I was just like, just silent. What he's been through and what he has done and the impact he has had. It is a great human story and a story that we all can adore, because it's so simple, so unique and so powerful,
He didn't say shit about anything.
I'm excited to give you an update.
Oh, of course, this is the Oprah Network. We all know what Oprah's been up to. To be true to my father, Kingsley talks about for Bob Rowan Marley on his father was assassinated. Okay, so here's another Marley kid.
There are a lot of conspiracy theories about your father, Bob Marley.
Sin.
And there was one that I've heard over the years, that your father was assassinated by an ex-CIA agent who was an assassin, said to be they pricked cancer in your dad's foot to assassinate him. Is that true?
I mean, one thing I do know for sure, they attempted the assassination on my father's life, The government did, because of him trying to bring people together, And one thing I do know, man, if someone attempts to assassinate you and they fail the first time, okay, all right, that's it. Pack up, go home.
Right.
So, of course, they try different ways and different mechanisms.
But why would someone want to assassinate someone for trying to bring people together?
Why did they have slaves? Why do they shoot us on the streets each day? At the end of the day, they don't really want people to unite. The day I'm speaking of, there's a system, you dig? The system that separates people. That's the day.
That's how they're able to operate and do the worst of the worst, is when people are divided. So that was Rohan. Is he the one? I think no, Rohan, that's his son, but I forgot the kid's name, the son's. Anyways, Assassinated. So that was one of the sons. I killed Bob Marley, ex CIA agent confesses. Now this is back in 2018. Ziggy Marley implies. Let's
You know?
One of the things I walked away from this documentary thinking is he should be alive today. Do you ever think that somehow, some way he could have been saved? Was it mismanagement of the medical situation and that he was so focused on other things? Should someone have just stopped and said, listen, it's just your toe?
This is your toe.
I don't know. I have some other theories about that, you know.
Really?
I'm going to explore that another time. But I got some other ideas, you know. I have some other ideas.
It makes you, as you're watching it, it makes you crazy because you just want to stop it and you want to say, wait, you can fix it. You can stop this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, this is the second life and death thing he went through. The first one was the assassination attempt, right? Where they tried to kill him.
Yes.
And that didn't stop him, you know, he kept on going. So, I don't know, I mean, I don't know. Again, it goes back to our faith and what we believe and the idea of, you know, what is to be must be, and the concept that life is beyond physical. So,
not really an answer.
He's still here in a lot of ways, even more than, you know, when he was here physically. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it is what it is, you know, and we have to accept that without question.
So he does imply that he has theories, but he didn't say anything like, yeah, he was definitely fucking murdered by the CIA. Okay, so let's check out this video because this gives us a little bit more background on the entire scope of the situation. Because Bob Marley was an attempt on his life was made. That is fact. We know that. And I do like how Rohan was saying that, you know, when someone fails at assassinating you, they don't just stop. They're like, fuck you, we're going to do more. We're going to do it again because we don't like that you're trying to bring people together. And a united people is more dangerous than people who are divided, because once people are united towards and focused on a certain agenda, which we see that all the time with these little groups that, you know, super laser focused, that's when shit goes down. That's when revolution starts. That's when the government starts getting questioned. That's when people start showing up on their fucking front lawns, and we see it all over Europe, all over the world now. Is like farmers fucking dropping manure on the state buildings and tractors at the border of Texas. The farmers are raising up right now, and the trucker convoys going to Texas. So we're seeing people sort of recognizing it, but there's so many people who it's so much easier to just assume that the government's got us. It's so much easier to go through life thinking that we're good. You know, no one wants to think about revolution. No one wants to think about the fallout from that kind of shit. No one wants to question stuff because that requires brain processing power, and brain processing power requires calories. Your brain uses so much energy to function. And so it's so much easier for people to just sort of shut down and accept what's going on rather than to stand up and go out in the cold and fucking walk around. You know, it's putting your head in the sand. And a lot of people are waking up, but there's a lot of people who would just rather keep that head right buried in that shit. So let's check out this video.
In the 1970s, Jamaica is an island of contradictory cultures.
Hold on.
Amid the serenity of the Caribbean,
Hold on.
the country is split
Hold on. We got this bitch going real quick here.
into two political factions. Trapped in the middle, reggae prince Bob Marley. Is Marley's influence enough to tone down the turmoil, to change the landscape, or is it too dangerous to get involved? And ultimately, is his life threatened in an attack sponsored by America's spy organization?
Did the CIA kill Bob Marley? Look at that. Jamaica looks like a modern...
is born. The island of Jamaica for 307...
That place looked like a modern day place. I love when they show Jamaica. I mean, it's either the resorts or they just show like Trench Town where people fucking living in mud shacks and shit. Like it's never fucking people just functioning and shit. It's just always, they always either show the ultra poor or like the ultra wealthy places to go vacation.
7 years, a British possession welcomes Princess Margaret and the Earl of Snowdon here to represent Queen Elizabeth at independence ceremony.
In 1962, Jamaica wins independence from England. A year later, another birth. Bob Marley forms his quintessential island band, the Wailers. As the band grows in popularity, Jamaica's political situation turns even more perilous. By 1976, the nation's most popular figure is caught in the crosshairs.
Bob Marley wasn't taking sides. His political views had more to do with the universal oppression of black people the world around.
Marley had to be extraordinarily careful when it came to politics in Jamaica at that time. To be aligned with a politician could be suicidal.
Yeah.
Marley must walk a tightrope between the angry parties. He's careful not to make any political statements as Jamaica rolls toward the most significant event in its short history.
You know, it's funny too because thinking about like Jimi Hendrix, who was a black dude around the same time, coming up around the same time here in America, he was under a lot of pressure from the Black Panthers and from the black community to speak out against racism and all that stuff. And he just like, hey man, I'm just trying to fucking trip hard and fucking shred. And it's like, that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry if you don't like that I, don't talk about these things. Yeah, and it harkens back to the discussion about Taylor Swift. Like, yeah, maybe she shouldn't involve herself and stuff. I remember there were Swifties for Palestine that was trending on X. And it's like, bitch, do not talk about who you support for Palestine. I mean, presidential candidates, that's one thing. But, in a country like Jamaica, which I don't know very much about, honestly, but... It was definitely under British rule for a long time. I mean, Bob Marley is half British. He's half white. They were very oppressed. I know that. It's sort of like, I don't think it was like South Africa oppression, but I don't know. I mean, this is at a time when real racism was severely institutionalized. This is real institutionalized racism right here. Especially at the time in America, and that the if you're under the rule of the whites in a mostly predominantly black Caribbean island, there is some sort of oppression. You have to maintain control of the subjects, especially as an invading force. You have to make sure that they're in line. So, I don't know what the political situation was, in great detail, but I can see why he didn't want to put himself in any one arena and not. I mean, it's just dangerous. Like from when you listen to reggae music, especially Bob Marley talking about how fucking gangster it is. Fucking Jamaica's gangster as fuck. It still is. I know plenty of Jamaicans. I mean, not like gobs of Jamaicans, but I've talked to and hung out with plenty of Jamaicans and talked to a lot of people who've gone to Jamaica. It still gets fucking, it's grimy still. So I'm guessing that it's been like that for a long time. And as their resources get pillaged and, people come to vacation, but stay in the resorts, because if you leave the resorts, you could end up getting whatever. So, it's probably a good decision that some of these musicians just stay quiet about shit just because it's like, man, it's just about music, and he was about unity, and I'm fucking, that's good enough for me, man. Scott Stapp is on Theo Vaughn's fucking podcast. Oh my god. What the lawns want to open on? All right.
The election of a prime minister.
Michael Manley was the
Michael
leader
Manley.
of the left-wing party in Jamaica, and he was prime minister. But, you know, at the end of the day, Manley was a democratic socialist. And his direct opposite and rival was Sega, who led the Jamaica Labor Party, who were on the right.
Siega was favored by the United States, and there were a lot of people in Jamaica who referred to him as Eddie Siega. But there was that suspicion that that was the conspiracy that was going to... Siega was favored by the United States, and there were...
So Siega was a candidate for prime minister, another white dude. I couldn't imagine that. That would suck to be conquered like that. Like, especially if you have such a monoculture like Jamaica, and you have to vote for some white dude who fucking came and fucking and put the fucking hurt down.
There were a lot of people in Jamaica who referred to him as Eddie Siega. But there was that suspicion that that was the conspiracy that was going to put Jamaica under the American thumb.
Uh-oh.
The most horrible thing that Manley did in the eyes of the CIA was he went to Cuba to see how Castro had managed things.
The United States didn't take kindly to any
Communism.
leader in what the United States considered their sphere of influence, which is the Western Hemisphere, because we're in the middle of the Cold War. So any country leaning left was a potential enemy, and from the United States' point of view, could be undermined by the Soviet Union.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, because back in the day, we were, actively fighting communism. And we would go out of our way to make sure that it didn't spread. So that makes sense that the CIA would be involved and be paying attention to what's going on in Jamaica and a possible another ally to Russia and Cuba, who were our enemies in Cold War and such.
Both candidates seek the endorsement of Bob Marley.
A few weeks before the big election that would determine who would rule Jamaica, there was a concert that Bob Marley was going to headline that was touted as being a symbol for believing in love and bringing people together.
Marley's idea was to bring both candidates onto the stage and have them shake hands, to show that, that it was an election for Jamaica.
And all of a sudden around Kingston, posters started appearing saying that Bob Marley was going to do a free concert on the lawn of Prime Minister Manley's house.
It was made to look like Bob Marley was tacitly supporting Manley.
And Bob freaked out because he didn't want to be publicly identified with either Siaga or Manley. And that's when Bob came under serious death threats.
Well, and yeah, I mean, the stakes were so high, and why would you want to be involved? And he's always talking about just the people, it's always about the people and bringing the people together. And that is scary to any government when people are united. Again, we talked about that.
Ultimately, both parties agree that the concert be held at a neutral site. But that decision is too late. The prevailing view remains that Marley favors Manley, making the singer public enemy number one to the conservative right, which includes the USA and the CIA. Now Bob is fully aware his life is in danger. So much so that he hires a security detail to guard his home 24/7. But on the evening of December 3rd, the guards are strangely absent.
Oh.
And it was then that the two carloads of gunmen came to kill Bob Marley.
Strangely absent. Reminds me of Jeffrey Epstein when he killed himself, how the guards were strangely absent when Jeffrey Epstein, hung himself. Strange.
The gunmen ran through the compound, shooting everyone they could find. And Rita Marley was in a car about to leave, and she got shot in the head.
Marley was hit, and his crew was also hit, and nobody was quite sure if either would make it.
Despite
Fucking
the
wild.
flurry of gunfire, Marley, wife Rita, and 2 associates survived the shooting. But 2 questions remain.
Yeah, it's always crazy when people
Who shot Bob Marley?
It's always crazy when people get shot in the fucking head and live to tell the tale. That's so wild to me. They're showing a newspaper clip from the time of. I'm sorry, guys. I slept like shit last night. Pop singer shot in Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica. Bob Marley, one of Jamaica's top reggae singers, and 3 members of his troupe were shot and wounded by a band of gunmen who invaded his home here, police said yesterday. The sources said Marley, whose revolutionary music style is highly popular among reggae fans. It says reggae. Reggae fans in the United States, was shot in the arm and in the attack by an unknown number of raiders on his uptown bungalow Friday night. Hospital officials said none of the 4 was critically injured. Boyfriend of Miss World. What? Marley, 31, who wears the long braid of Mamasian Rastafarian movement and is the boyfriend of this year's Miss World, Cindy Breakspear. Marley was scheduled to give a free public concert today at Hero Circle, an event sponsored by the government of Prime Minister Michael Manley. Political motives for the attack were suspected. Jamaica has suffered political violence since January between rival gangs of the ruling People's National Party and the opposition Jamaica Labour Party. National elections are scheduled for December 15th. Interesting to read these old newspapers. I mean, they've suppressed anyone that rallies people in general ever since the alphabet groups were formed. Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. So it wouldn't be any surprise, right? But there's more to the story.
And will he still do the concert 2 days later?
I love that. You know what? I love fucking tenacious fucking heroes in history. What was it? Teddy Roosevelt got shot in the chest. Motherfucker went and gave us like an hour-long speech. Like, fuck that, I'm going to give a speech, bitch. I love like rough riding ass motherfuckers like that. That shit is so awesome to me. I know my bitch ass would be like, oh, I got shot. I'm like, oh, it hurts. I'm not doing shit. I'm staying home, bitch. This really isn't really shocking thing, and why most people with any fame stay away from Praga. Yeah, it's not shocking, but it's a story that not everyone knows. And I wasn't aware of all the details and stuff either myself. So, it's just a series we're doing on the channel talking about, different instances when the FBI and CIA have investigated musicians or worked directly against musicians or used musicians as cover as they went and assassinated African, leaders and shit that didn't align with their agenda. It's just really interesting stuff to me,
After the shooting, most of Bob's friends were begging him not to do the concert. Jeff Walker, his publicist, convinced Bob he should go. Bob told Jeff that he wasn't going to go down to the site without a machine gun. And Jeff said, Bob, your guitar is your machine gun. And at that moment, Bob agreed to go, and he grabbed his wife, and they went screaming down the mountainside in the back of the police chief's car to the site where 80,000 people were waiting for them.
I mean,
Bob's performance that
there's something to be said about the bravery and the balls it takes to be like, I just got fucking shot. People want me dead because I'm going to do music, play music for people in a certain area, and people want me dead, and my wife dead, and what? That's ballsy, man. That's real ballsy.
night was that of a man possessed. It was one of the bravest moments of Bob's life. To be on stage,
There you go.
as vulnerable as he possibly could have been, he sang and implored the audience, "Why can't we love one another?" And made this plea, "What's wrong with you, my brothers?" It was the night he went from showman to shaman.
Damn.
10 days later, Manley is reelected. Fearing for his life, Marley flees Jamaica for England. But the mystery lingers. Who shot the music legend?
I've been studying this now for 44 years. I think in the end that the men who came to kill Bob were associated with Edward Seaga's Jamaican Labor Party. Whether Seaga gave the direct order or not has never been conclusively proven. But was the CIA part of the assassination attempt? That's the great unanswered question.
All of this.
It's common knowledge the CIA has a lengthy file on Marley. But why?
The CIA was worried that Bob Marley was some sort of nefarious, influence on Jamaican politics. They look at Bob Marley and think of him as a threat.
There were so many rumors regarding sons of CIA operatives or directors being a part of assassination attempts after the shooting of his house. Some believe that poison perhaps caused Bob Marley's skin cancer that led to brain cancer, and it was a particularly aggressive kind of cancer.
There is a story that someone...
Rapper T.I. claimed Bob Marley was murdered by CIA agent who deliberately infected Reggae Star's toe with cancer, which it's not contagious. It's not contagious. But who knows? Maybe the CIA cooked up some shit, right? It's like in the kitchen, like, we're going to cook up some fucking contagious cancer. I mean, if they can sit there and amplify viruses in some government, U.S. funded fucking lab in Wuhan and release it out into the world, intentionally or unintentionally, we may never fucking know. Is it possible that they would fucking come up with some weird thing that causes cancer? I don't know if the technology would allow it at the time. It doesn't make much sense, but it's not impossible either. But this one's a little harder to get behind because of it's pretty well known that cancer isn't contagious.
Gave Bob a poisoned boot that somehow gave Bob Marley melanoma cancer and eventually caused his death.
In May 1981, Bob Marley dies of skin cancer. He is 36 years old. But do covert actions by the CIA contribute to his demise?
Do I believe it was something orchestrated by higher powers? Probably not, despite many, many examples of the CIA doing some bad stuff. But I can't think of another instance wherein there's evidence where they would try to kill a pop star.
I was down there in '75. People had wacky ideas, but no, CIA wouldn't do it. They had better things to worry about in those days.
The
Fucking
CIA
shill.
was never implicated in the assassination attempt, nor connected with any plot to cause the cancer that kills him. Nevertheless, they will forever be linked, the CIA and Bob Marley.
So maybe the CIA did fund some sort of assassination attempt because of that one candidate who was running opposing Manley. So that is possible. That they, and it doesn't have to be the CIA who goes and does it. They can just hire thugs who obviously sucked at their job. They didn't fucking even do the job correctly. I mean, my God. Let's check out Marlon James. He's talking a little bit on Bob. Bob Marley was dangerous.
Entertainer and reggae star Bob Marley, Rita Marley, and the manager of the Wailers, Don Taylor, are now patients in the
Don
University
Taylor.
Hospital after receiving gunshot wounds during a shooting incident which took place at Marley's home at 56 Hope Road tonight.
Today, the true story that inspired Marlon James' vivid novel seems almost as hyper-real. The 1976 assassination attempt on the reggae legend was assumed to be politically motivated, coming 2 days before a concert backed by the Jamaican Prime Minister, Michael Manley. The book imagines what happened to the gangsters who got away.
Killing Marley was and is so preposterous. There's an unwritten rule in Jamaica that nobody touches a tough gang. So the idea that not only would somebody even think about killing him, but try.
Tough Gong is the record label Bob Marley, I believe, started and was on, and this dude is almost referring to Tough Gong as almost like a gang, so it might be something like that, but I'm not completely sure. I'd have to get more details on that. I just want to fill in just a Tough Gong, and that might be like a reference to a what they call like, you know, like rude boys or something, like rude boy, where, you know, that can be like gangsters as well. So I'm not familiar with the vernacular.
I nearly did. If Marley was inhaling instead of exhaling, that bullet would have gone straight through his heart. So they were trying to kill him, not just scare him. So that's why it became such a sort of a larger than life event, and why it became something that, especially a novelist who's trying to write a big novel, it just kept unfolding.
But how much of this comes from your own experience, your own culture, and rumours that you heard?
Oh, all of it is rumor.
All of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Jamaica, you trust rumors, you don't trust facts. Facts come with an agenda. Rumors, nobody, you know, whoever is telling it don't really have much to lose.
Do you think Bob Marley was dangerous?
Yes. He was very dangerous on all sorts of levels. He was dangerous in a very basic way. The idea in 1976 that you would get poor Jamaicans to start thinking for themselves in itself was dangerous.
Yeah.
In my grandmother's house, there were photos of the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister's father. There are no family photos. That's how far the sort of political culture is ingrained. And the idea that this guy with this, you know, uncombed hair, speaking terribly, becoming this voice of freedom and black struggle. A lot of Jamaicans were very uncomfortable with that. We would love to say that we were on the forefront of accepting Bob Marley as a revolutionary. We were actually one of the last to accept that. It wasn't until the rest of the world was like, Bob Marley, freedom fighter, we're like, yay. But he was a really polarizing figure, and I think people forget that. Plenty of people, even in the middle of sufferation, go and pick the bad they know over the good they can only dream about.
So now they were mentioning Bill Oxley, who was supposedly a ex-CIA agent who admitted to killing Bob Marley. But apparently it's been debunked. Is that his name, Bill Oxley? Bob Marley's 31. Is this it? Allegedly. Where? I must be just spelling his fucking name wrong. Hold on. Let me find it. Oxley. No, I thought. No, that's right. What's his? Bill Oxley. So let's go. Now, it's been fact checked by professional fact checkers. Everybody, the U.S. Today fact checked this shit. Okay, so you know we can trust the facts because they got fact checkers. So let's read about this twatter. No, get out of here. So this is the story. 79-year-old, and this is from Vanguard. I killed Bob Marley, ex-agent confesses. 79-year-old Bill Oxley, ex-agent of America's Central Intelligence Agency, is rewriting the history of the death of reggae legend Bob Marley, claiming he killed the legend. Marley tragically died at only 36, and we know that with a 4-year battle of cancer. I pretty much recall, I recall in the research I was doing that Bob Marley refused like regular cancer care. He didn't like regular medical intervention, like Western medical intervention. So that also could have just been like another way that it metastasized and it just got out of control. Not that cancer treatments in that day were worth a shit anyways, but story of cancer may seem untrue as startling claims have emerged from a deathbed confession made by an ex-CIA officer where he admitted to the killing. Oxley is alleged to have claimed the murder of Marley among 17 other assassinations for the American government between 1974 and 1985. At the time, he said CIA was a law unto itself. I think there's a video of him talking about this. Deathbed confession. Most awful deathbed. 10 creepy deathbed confessions. So it's really weird that there's nothing. All right. Let me go over here because I was fucking with AI and they had some shit. So we know the story. So here's the fact check. Here's the facts, guys. And of course, this is July of 2020. So we know that we remember what time of our lives that was. Middle of summer of 2020. The summer of fucking mostly peaceful protests. This is, I think we were watching.
From the last album to me. And that comes from what I've learned previously throughout the years of my life.
This is Ziggy Marley talking.
And even specifically working on my father's album, Exodus too. I did mixes on that. So I got to listen to the music very raw and big things. I was like, oh. That makes a difference, you know. So I kind of stole some ideas from that also for put on this record, musically speaking. It is a push to get the rebellion, which is the rebellion of love, rebellion of more peace.
You know what's funny now? Ziggy Marley, people are fucking mad at Ziggy Marley because he's married to a Zionist. that's he's married to a Jewish person. Oh no, Taylor Swift takes off makeup and leaves us with no words. The claim, a CIA agent confessed on his deathbed to killing reggae artist Bob Marley. The claim is several years old, but in a 2019 post to the Instagram page Submit Conspiracy Theories recently gained renewed attention. The place is a page for followers that of the account Conspiracy Theories to post conspiracy theory memes according to its profile. Does it exist still? Nope. I didn't think so. That does not exist anymore. Reggae superstar was actually assassinated by a CIA agent named Bill Oxley, the conspiracy theory claims. Oxley allegedly confessed on his deathbed. The claim has been debunked. And thank you for USA Today for doing that for us. An obituary published by The Guardian the day after Marley's untimely death on May 11, 1981, reported his death from cancer. Because, I mean, that can't be altered. Like, people don't just make shit up, right? Like, people won't cover up stories for governments. The news doesn't do that, right? Some question how Marley, a black man, contracted fatal melanoma that spread from his toe to his brain. Though melanoma is more common in those with fairer skin, hidden melanomas in areas of the body that don't receive a lot of sun exposure are more common in people with darker skin, according to the Mayo Clinic. Moreover, Marley's case... There's nobody in there.
Are we going to be going and getting our snacks, or...
It's 2:30.
Yeah?
What? This is my last story. If you guys want to go, go.
Well, I need to wait for you so you can get your snack.
I don't care. I'm a grown-ass man. I can get snacks anytime I want. So if you guys need to go right now, you guys can go.
Well,
I'm gonna end after the story because I have to pee so bad I can taste it. Some question on Marley, a black man contract. Okay, we've just read that shit. Moreover, Marley's case of melanoma is described in an article in Cancer Research UK's science blog as a rare, fast-growing cancer that would have been difficult to treat with the technology available in the 1980s, which is very, very reasonable. The conspiracy theory. Adding fuel to the conspiracy theory was a prior attempt on Marley's life. Before his cancer diagnosis, Marley was shot in the chest for supporting Jamaican Prime Minister Michael Manley, according to The Guardian. Yeah, see, they're going according to The Guardian. And we just heard that he didn't support anybody, and he was pissed that they booked him this show, and that the Manley attached himself to the show. So what facts? I mean, they're using The Guardian as facts. Like, okay, well, newspapers can be wrong. We saw that again. Oh, of course, they're going to mention QAnon. A separate post to the Instagram page outlines the details of an alleged confession from an ex-CIA agent. The Liberty to Thank You, whatever, account is tied to QAnon deep state conspiracy theories, according to the profile page. The post suggests Marley was targeted for his Rastafarian beliefs, though it doesn't label Oxley as the CIA agent who assassinated Marley. The claim is almost identical to the source on defunct news website uNewsWire. To get close enough to Marley to inject him with cancer-causing substance, an elaborate setup was planned involving the CIA's agent's son, according to that stupid fucking Instagram page. They're going off Instagram pages and shit. Like, this is how facts are found, guys. This is how USA gets to the facts. They quote other newspapers and Instagram accounts, which, of course, we know that that social media can spread false information. That's very true. The day of the Smile Jamaica concert event, a USA photographer who wanted to meet Marley got access, the post reads. He told Marley how excited he was to film the event and even brought him a pair of shoes. Bob Marley tried on the shoe and screamed out, ouch. They found the pointed copper metal in the top part of the shoe. They immediately thought it was radioactive or poison. The Smile Jamaica concert was held on December 5th, 1976, according to the official website for Bob Marley. The post described how doctors discovered Marley's cancer 5 months later during a visit to the hospital after a soccer player stepped on his toe. They later found out the photographer was the CIA's agent's son. The claim ends. Did an ex-CIA agent make a deathbed confession? The source of the claim is now an archived article on the website unewswire.com titled "CIA Agent Confesses on Deathbed, I Killed Bob Marley." In May, uNewsWire creator Sean Adel offered fact-checker lead stories a statement on the shutdown of the site. When I closed uNewsWire down in late 2019 and moved to News Punch, the focus on what we would cover editorially changed, and it was decided that we would no longer cover unreliable conspiracy whilst also being much more responsible in fact-checking content before publishing. Aldo said the archived article claimed that Oxley, a 79-year-old retired officer of the CIA, confessed to 17 assassinations between 1974 through 1985 after being told he had weeks to live. As far as the agency was concerned, Bob Marley was too successful, too famous, and too influential, a Jamaican Rastaman who started using his funds and fame to support causes around the world that were in direct conflict to the CIA. To be honest, he signaled his own death warrant, which, I mean, if you're somebody who supports communism or something at the time, that would put a target on your back. The strategy to inject Marley with cancer-causing agent is the same described in that Instagram post, except Oxley, not his son, posed as the photographer. No such agent. The existence of Bill Oxley and whether someone with the name was a CIA agent cannot be corroborated. USA Today confirmed. Reporters for fact-check sites Snopes and 4 News also found no record. Oh, isn't that cute? Because they're all funded by the same fucking people. Though fabricated, Oxley's confession in Your News Wire produced numerous internet memes and conspiracy theories. A 2018 reprint in the Nigerian newspaper Vanguard was shared by rappers Busta Rhymes, T.I., and their Instagram accounts. Our rating, false. We rate this claim false because it is not supported by our research. The site where the claim was first posted, Your News Wire, shut down in 2019. None of the information in the article is verifiable, and the existence of Bill Oxley cannot be confirmed. And there's our fact-checking sources. This is The Guardian, Bob Marley, museum announces for OK, Snopes to the CIA. So they're going off of other fact-checking sites. Mayo Clinic, Bob Marley, genomics and rare form of melanoma. Fact check. President Trump did not order Guantanamo Bay to prepare for high level prisoners. What the fuck? So, US Today could not find a truth to the story. And they fact checked by other fact checkers. So, who knows what fucking happened with this whole situation? For me, I generally, it doesn't seem like you can spread cancer through shots, but or can you? Can you give someone cancer through a shot? We should ask. Let's ask AI because they're reliable. Can you give someone yes, you can give cancer to be. Yeah, I mean, you can do radiation and stuff, right? You give someone cancer. You secondhand smoke, right? Can you give someone cancer from a shot? Chemicals as well. Can a shot give someone cancer? No, you cannot give someone cancer from a shot. Here's why. Cancer is not infectious. Cancer is a group of disease characterized by uncontrolled cell. Vaccines. We didn't even ask about vaccines, bitch. Wait. Hold on. Now, okay, hold on. Cancer treatment. Certain chemicals, including asbestos, vinyl chloride, arsenic, are known human carcinogens, meaning they can be found in cancer. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me, Phil. That totally makes sense to me. Vaccines, including COVID-19 vaccines, have not been linked to increased risk of cancer, of course, because Pfizer paid for for those fact checks.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
All right, thank you. In fact, what the fuck just happened? Go back. What the fuck just happened? How did that even... Fucking AI. Oh, they didn't like that, did they? What in the world? So inject someone with one of those cancer, bitch. I mean, it makes sense to me, honestly, Phil, because, yeah, why would you? Like, if you failed an assassination attempt, can you inject cancer? It's just so hard, right? Because again, we know that these fucking companies are suppressing information. You can go to like different things like Brave. We should ask Brave. We'll ask Brave. Sorry, but it looks like you lost. Oh, we're reconnecting. So they were out there literally giving everyone cancer. I mean, if you wanted to assassinate somebody without it looking like an assassination, because obviously that first one was messy. They hired the wrong people to do the job. We went over a couple weeks ago how Louis Armstrong was used by the CIA in an African operation where they murdered a leader in an I can't remember all the details, but they used Louis Armstrong as cover because they were parading black musicians around Africa to show how open-minded the USA was and how our culture was awesome and stuff, because jazz was is a very American art form. So they were like, hey, go out there and show them we're not so bad, while they were assassinating fucking leaders. So it is not outside the realm of possibility, right? Let's go to Brave. Let's ask Brave. George Soros was a Nazi. That was the last thing I looked up. Oh my God. You guys see where my head's at, right? Can you spread cancer from injections? And yeah, we are seeing rises in fucking cancer now, but that was before, because I remember Candace Owens responded to this study that was done in 2019 before the vaccine was ever created. And she was like, thanks, COVID vaccine. And it was just that younger people are getting cancer, like super cancer, younger and even healthier than usual, which wouldn't be a surprise to me because America's food is basically poison, right? They put carcinogens in the fucking food. So yeah, the more we're eating fucking nuggets, frozen nuggets, and fucking TV dinners, and fucking Cheerios, and fucking Fruit Loops, and all this processed bullshit, it makes sense to me that people are getting cancer more. The younger crowd had more vaccines. Yeah, but this study that Candace Owens was pointing out was done between like 2016 and 2019. So it was before all that stuff. Oh, I see what you're saying, Phil. Sorry. I misread that. Yeah. I see what you're saying. And that's part of the reason why I like RFK Jr. is because he does speak out on this shit. And I read his book, The Real Anthony Fauci, and like, fuck, dude, it gets real fucked up. Yeah, I know you're not talking about COVID. The food is nuclear. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got you. We're eating Godzilla. Yummy. You're good. You're good, Opulence. It's all good. Yeah, we shouldn't feel ashamed for asking questions or questioning each other. Right? We shouldn't feel like we have to be enemies because we don't agree on stuff. We should talk about it so we can work this shit out. Injections and drips, treatments for cancer. One injection could kill cancer. So this is Brave. COVID vaccines and people with cancer. This is crazy. They go right to fucking the COVID-19 vaccine. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, as soon as, like, we're not even asking about COVID-19. And even Brave, which is an independent browser that does not supposedly have a bias on anything, still comes up with COVID vaccine. And that's a red flag in my fucking head. What? We weren't even asking about COVID-19, bitch. What the fuck? We're asking about just an injection, just some kind of injection, something. Can cancer cells spread from one person to the other via blood? It's very unlikely, but that doesn't say no. Vaccines in general are not natural and taken for decades to see side effects. Yeah, and that's something that's Googled a lot, right? Like I'm sure a lot of people are just like, fucking COVID give me cancer, the fucking, or people are just out there trying to find any reason to shit on vaccines and stuff, which, rightfully so. There's been a lot of fuckery in the medical field surrounding vaccines. Is cancer contagious? No. 6 months after second vaccine dose, people with solid, look, spontaneous tumor regression following COVID-19 vaccines. So this is all crazy. So it does seem like you could. And I think Phil made a great point that if you you could concentrate all the fucking things that give you cancer into one shot. You could fuck it up. If you want a rabbit hole, look up sugar and artificial. Yeah. I've definitely went down that. It's not pretty. It's awful. I mean, just the same people that were lobbying for cigarettes were lobbying for the sugar. The same people who are like, doctors everywhere prescribe Camel. It's approved by the FDA. That means shit anymore, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, for a long time, especially in the, I don't want to call them anti-vax community, because I'm sure there are people who are completely against vaccines. I know some. I have family members who are against all that shit and like, fuck you, you're not putting that in my child. Friends, very close friends, obviously, birds of a feather flock together. But there are vaccines that have been around for a long time. Like, okay, polio vaccine, right? Very important vaccine that helped a lot of people. I don't know if it causes cancer, but it's something that we keep in the general public, so polio doesn't become a thing, right? So there are these vaccines that have been time tested, and those are the vaccines that we were approving for our kid. All this new mRNA shit and all this like stuff that, there was what was the vaccine that was causing cancer in women, right? There was a vaccine that was causing cancer in women not too long ago. I think it was for HPV. Polio only mattered because humans were the only carry vector. That's interesting. So, it is possible. I think just from how much people are screaming about the second dose fucking, brought my cancer back. And it is very possible to give somebody some sort of something that would initialize abnormal growth in cells. If there are multiple carry vectors, vaccinations make no sense. So if it's not just in humans, and so if there's not multiple carry vectors, vaccinations make no sense. Can you make it simpler for my simple brain, Phil? You sound like you know what you're talking about, so like I'm with it. I'm having a hard time processing it. Probably because I have to pee so fucking bad. I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, I'm gonna explode. So obviously it's gonna be hard to find direct evidence, and we can only go on speculation at this point. But I think the best thing that Phil did was when he was talking about yes, the certain chemicals, including benzene, beryllium, asbestos, vinyl chloride, and which vinyl chloride was the thing that exploded in New Palestine or Palestine, Ohio, which nobody's talking about that shit anymore, are they? That's the shit that was burning in the air. They burned it into the air, and it was killing fish in the water and shit. They found cause cancer in human. Yeah. So I think that is a really good point that we can kind of go off. If a virus can be carried in humans and dogs, for example, it wouldn't matter if a vaccine exists because the dogs would still spread the virus. Gotcha. Thank you very much, Phil. I appreciate you making it so my dumb ass could understand. So yeah, is it very possible that the CIA wanted to stop the spread of socialism and communism, and they saw Bob Marley as someone who was promoting a prime minister of Jamaica that was associated with all that shit? Is it possible? Fuck yeah, it's possible. Did they do it? I mean, it's only speculative at this point. So